What is up, everybody? One second. This thing is having a delay. Yeah, there we go. My audio thing had a really bad delay, so I had to restart it. But I wanted to get back to doing the poetry stuff, and I figured if I have a good enough microphone now, I might as well actually start doing. Because I have enough poems now, I feel like. They're not all that great, but, I think it'd be fun just kind of read some of my poetry instead of having to do a whole big to-do every single time and make a giant video. I really just want to be able to make art without having to put in so much effort into stuff that I don't enjoy. And so this first one is from my fourth volume, and I call it Prayer for the Lost, or a prayer. A prayer for the lost, may they find themselves. A prayer for the blind, may they see more than others. A prayer for these worn raw by the friction of survival. May they find the balm of love that flows from the wounded hearts. A prayer for the passed over, may they be recognized. I'm going to turn off that echo that I have on here. Here we go. That sounds better. A prayer for those who work all day to feed their children but go hungry themselves, and a curse on those who have enough and withhold from the needy. May they never be satisfied in this life or the next. This next one is called Sit With You. Your eyes burn me. Look away so I may sit with you. Your presence makes me choke on atmosphere when I sit with you. Your scent chills me, sending shivers across when I sit with you. This one's called In the Valley. I miss who my friends used to be. What went wrong with you and me? We changed in very different ways. I used to think our days were infinite. I miss the spark I saw in your soul. I didn't think the years would make you old. Fires we had between us went out, and now all is dark. I miss the joy in our talks and the days spent on the rocks. I stayed on the mountain, but you fell to the valley. Now we only hear the voices over those. Now we only hear the echoes over our voices passing each other by. I guess I'm going to have to hold this stuff up a little bit higher to make it sound better. Maybe I could do it this way. In the wilderness I am tame, for it is where I know how to be one with my God. The parched earth beneath my feet becomes holy ground as desert angels circle above my head like a halo. I sense my own diminution in the presence of the sublime unfolding before me. In the wilderness I find peace, with the wind sweeping my soul clean from the social grime. How's it going? Nice. What's up, Pop? Papa Shot Live. What's up? And this poem's called Western Angels. The cry of Western angels reverberates on the gorge. This heat casts old spells on the souls within the forge. Demons coil in shady rest while the sun beats the earth, giving it the daily test to see who will give in first. Secret souls dart the land under the cover of Luna. Stars lend their hand to guide Gaia's Numa. The night now has passed into the blazing morning. Now the creatures must fight to stay from those angels soaring. And this one's called Your Future Life. In the days we used to play when all was right with the world, you used to tell me of your future life and leave behind your pain. And I would tell you stories of old age when life slips off the page into the, what's this? Can't read my own handwriting. Into the book of life when you leave your pain behind. Warm days slip by, and now all is goodbye. Look me in the eye and tell me that it's not a lie, that those days of play in the field felt so unreal. I miss the way that we used to feel. And this one's called From Below. Chain me to the sun, set me down slow. Teach me new ways, I am from below. Devil with a halo's glow tells me what I should know, who I am and where to go, because I am from below. Stars, please guide my sleeper's ship, sailing over this vast abyss. I am the son of the ferryman who crossed the river Styx. Pulled and powered by the sun, I am no longer low. Now an angel white as snow, I am no longer from below. This one's called Two. I am too judgmental, too full frontal, too much me, going mental. Too loud for some, too quiet for none, too emotional for others, too sentimental for my brothers. I am so much me that it turns my friends green and makes them leave whenever I act like me. Too fast for you, too lazy for work, too loving for few, too alive for the dirt. And this one's called Webs. Spider webs filled with dew cover the bark of the cedar tree, catching the rainbows in his view while birds create a symphony. Webs are like the flags of the forest, made by the smallest of weavers, proudly displayed by the poorest and most studious of creatures. Patient and poised on her porch, she waits for the daily manna that the wind brings in its course, while she knits like a nana. And this poem is called The Garden of Your Mind. Speak to me of dreams, visions, and surreal scenes. Net me with your imagination. Tell me now, 'cause I am impatient. Recall records of your third eye. I wish to watch you fly and hang breathless on the air, to leave behind every care. Speak to me of your joy. I'm sorry if I annoy. I just love to see a smile on your face. The garden of your mind is my favorite place. This one's called Little Bandits. Little bandits scamper at midnight to steal rotten treasure by moonlight. Little hands feel across the dark for a treat from a can in the park. Low trills of happiness from Low trills of happiness from these thieves, while shuffling through the broken leaves, feeling and sniffing, making sure nothing is missing. The park is empty, time for fishing. Ring-tailed miscreants wearing pajama pants and masks to hide their face, perform a heist under Midwest black skies. If you can't tell, that one's about raccoons, because I really like raccoons. There's a lot of them back home. And this one's called Roll with the Changes. I tied myself to samsara so I could roll with the changes. Now I'm locked in gear to roll anew every year. Every day I spin my wheel and gamble on good fortune, betting today will beat tomorrow and leave behind my sorrow. Fortune come, fortune go, and the cycle repeats infinitely. Bringing the familiar new every day, I change my view. I call this one Lord Save Me. Lord, save me from myself and the wealth of my mistakes that I heap upon my days. I can be my own worst enemy when trying to do my best, to do good for you and me. I don't wish to hurt anyone, but it seems I cannot stop to let people down one by one. Lord, please give me grace to stand tall, look you in the eye, and admit when I've made mistakes. This one's called Full Speed Ahead. Fire all cylinders, full speed ahead. When life wants you, there's no time to think when life wants you dead. No time to waste, no space to lose. Come on, make haste, the devil wants his due. Run on, don't stop, don't look at the clock. Time goes faster than you know, soon you'll be under a rock. So enjoy your life and do it now. Forget your strife, make this your vow. This one doesn't have a title. I just guess I wrote this and forgot to do it. Title it. What can a person do to keep a life from passing by? To hold on to you right before you're in the sky. I don't know what I would do without you. I don't ever I never want to let you go, but I can't hold time back from us both growing old. I hope I hope something's after this because then I'll never miss a moment to take a kiss and appreciate the love we share. I can't imagine life going any other way. This page is too small to fit my heart onto it, but you know you have it all. I wish I could figure out how to tell you how I feel. And this one's called Passion. What is passion? Is it an emotion or a hunger, a craving that can be felt but defies defining? What is passion? Is it to feel something in your core, a reverberation in your gut that will not be quiet? What is passion? Is it really just obsession, the inability to focus on anything else other than its objective? What is passion? Is it love beyond understanding? If so, I'm passionate for you in every definition of the word. And this one's called The Real. What does it mean to be real in a world where plastic is praised as pinnacle, where art is no longer human but instead a homunculus created by greedy alchemists, trying to turn shit into gold? Failing fast, these fraudsters peddle pretty pictures and simulated stimulations to pull our emotions in games of profit and manipulation. Mesmerists casting illusions before our eyes. I prefer the real, the chaotic, the horrible beauty, the sublime crammed into my psyche. To be real is to be yourself, regardless of reward. And this one's called Triggering the Morphine. I drowned myself in images, looking for something more to this life than heaviness, anxiously searching again. Fire hose to my face, I need some stimulation, but nothing satisfies like your pretty lies. Finger on the button, triggering that morphine, kill the pain inside me, I don't think it's working. I sank into my self-pity to indulge the inner beast you released in me, searching again anxiously. This one I call Sweat and Dreams. Sheets sweat filled from, wait, here we go. Sheets sweat filled from stress of dreams stick to my back as I am shocked into consciousness. Wide-eyed panic fills my hands, intensive grips trying to hold onto some semblance of peace. Waves of embarrassing memories crash into the rocks of my hardened psyche and then recede again. All is well, so I close my eyes to forget the hell I put myself through when they are open. This one's called Solid as Space. You are as solid as the space between stars, filled with the holes in places making people who they are. To be or not isn't the question. What is it to be is my better suggestion if questions are to be asked. Then ask yourself who you are and what is self, that you may go far. Question yourself, then question again. Follow that line down to find gold at the end. This one's called Tripping on the Floor. I remember tripping on the floor and fumbling over the words I love you over and over. You took my hand and stole my heart that night while we stumbled over light. Intoxicated with more than love, seeded dreams, you took my tongue captive and rode it till morning. Like the sign of cancer in the stars, we spent the night in embrace, looking for answers. We found love in its place. This one's called The Enchanted Forest. The smell of the earth after rain transports me to a land of fae, casts a glamour over me, stupefying my senses. Enchantments filled the forest, sung by winged wizards, fluttering over me like guardian angels. This forest is an ancient reality that only few can see, filled with life and beauty to remind us how life should be. This one's called Rebel. Ghosts crowd my mind, trying to live again vicariously through the enacting the ideals they set a millennia ago. Artists, philosophers, kings, and rebels revel in living through those who choose to do as they did when they had lives to live. Try as they might to dictate my morals, I choose to be a rebel by ignoring the words of ancient vultures pecking at the carrion of culture. I will be an exorcist for my friends and banish the thoughts prepared by them by greedy men. Be a rebel. I do. Man, I consider myself an ally. I'm about as free thinker as you can get. I believe in freedom for everyone. I don't believe in coercion or force or violence. So I condemn the current culture that we have. We entertain ourselves in violence, guns, death, vicariously living through others. I'm going to put my poetry thing down for a second and just talk, because I feel like this needs to be said more, and more people will need to think about this. What we consume visually, musically, artistically, it changes how we see the world. So when we're constantly putting negative stuff in our minds, I'm not talking about watching the negative news. I'm talking about watching violent films, listening to violent music, engaging in hate, even if we think it's justified. That helps nothing. We don't get any further in life. We'll never progress because of that. If we sink to the level of the people that we are disgusted by, then how can we help them? How can we? You can't help someone get out of a pit by going down into the pit with them. You have to build a ladder, give it to them, put it down there. Maybe a ladder that you created for yourself to dig yourself out of that pit, but not everyone else can get out without a little help. That's why we need to be encouraging and teach everybody to accept each other, accept our differences, and realize it's not our job to control other people. We don't need to control other people's sexuality, their political views, how they worship, where they worship, what they believe. But that being said, we should not allow violence to others. Just because we accept other people as other people doesn't mean we accept the violence from other people. Like, I noticed that there's a lot of people who are like, well, so and so, I don't like them, so therefore, I'm gonna, hurt them. It's like, no, that's not right either. You can't do that. I don't tolerate intolerance. And some people are like, oh, that's ironic. First of all, figure out what irony is, and then think about what it means to tolerate people, what it means to be an understanding person, what it means to accept, what it means to actually have freedom in America. Freedom in America can never come at the cost of oppression. Oppression never creates freedom. So when we allow hateful people to take us out, we are not being a force of good. We have to resist. We need to melt the ice of our hearts. But anyways, back to the poetry. What is good? Ask yourself, what is good? Question again, what is evil? Detach yourself from ready-made morality and see the true reality, that our insanity is self-inflicted by our convictions of right and wrong, as though we are rulers to measure our world by the elastic and fantastic throng of ideas mobbing us at every turn of the worm. We imagine ourselves to be human, stand upright, see the light, and ask yourself, what is good and what is evil? This one's called Entertainment Entrainment. Entertainment Entrainment, to steal a soul from the living, complacent competence, status quo reinforcement. Keep yourself hypnotized and believing the lies. Amuse yourself to death while they feed on our lives. Bread and carnivals, Vanity Fair to confuse you with judicial theater to keep us amused. Wake up to the nightmare that they made up, fear-inducing and amusing, poisoning our minds. This one's called The Apple. Holding to the sun like a sacrifice, a half-eaten apple that bears the knowledge of life and death. I found I put God to the test in her briar patch when I asked for the words of my purpose. She told me a story of comfort and gore to excite the mind in which she bore. I heard the fable of fate and ate the apple whole, but did not swallow the false tale that she told. This one's called Refuse. No one can be king if you refuse to bow the knee to tyranny. No one can dictate your actions, even if it costs your life. Better to die free than to accept slavery. Better to die free than bow a knee. Stand strong against the throng of evil telling you to conform to their moldy form. This one's called Mental Revolution. Throw down the crown, reject authority, embrace anarchy, and throw down the crown. No man call no man king or leader. Place no one above or below. Call no man father or teacher. Question what they say that they know. Be the light for others. Reject authority. Embrace equality, for we are sisters and brothers. Break the chain of your brain. Mental revolution. See the pure truth. Equality is the only solution. I only have so many words to say in a day, so I must choose worthy words that I may be heard and understood. I only have so much time while I'm alive, so I must divide it wisely before I close my eyes the last time. I only have so much love, but I willingly give it freely to those who need it, so that they may live life peacefully. And this one's called, What Good? What good are words that go unheard? It's absurd to think that they have no value. They have the value of expression, catharsis, exaltation, and redemption. For you are always near to hear your own confession and be your own priest to mediate between God and beast. At least your words will change your soul to fill the hole dug there when you were a babe. What a world to wake to, with a warm cup of joy when winter waits outside. What a morning to have, birds soaring while I'm pouring a cup of joy for my woman. What a life to spend with my wonderful wife watching the birds with me. What a universe to be in, breathe in, and be a bright burning light in. What a joy it has been to share this cup with you freely. Rain in the dark reminds me of tears shed in empty rooms in my early years. The tears that make these things clear flood my floor, the ache of a lonely heart begging for more. Rain in the dark reminds me of years spent all alone. This one's called Disorderly Truth. I prefer disorderly truth than structures of lies, ugly honesty over pious deceit. I want to feel the real, raw, rough splinters of organic life over smooth plastic death. I love your asymmetry more than any false beauty the world tries to sell to me. So tell to me the truth while we still have our youth to spend before the crashing end. This one's called The Great Lie. There is a great lie that there is a man in the sky who keeps his eye on you and I from the moment we are born till the day that we die. And no one knows why or who started the great lie, but apparently he watches from on high, saying the end is nigh, and after we die, most of us will fry in the fires he started, but won't tell us why. So I stopped believing the great lie and let out a triumphant sigh. Gravity is pulling on my heart. It pumps as it can, but each pump becomes weaker and weaker. I don't want to pump anymore, just to be pulled back by gravity. What is weakness? What is this feeling of dread for every open-eyed moment? I wish I could live my life close-eyed in the world of self, like I see so many others do. Be self-deluded and secluded in my own fantasy. But to die is to be born again, and I'm tired of these cycles of death and to self and rebirth on Earth. This prison planet has too much gravity for a heavy heart like mine. How can I, how can I step outside my skin to view the self hidden within these twisted ligaments? How do I die and live at the same time, being both Christ and cross? How do I end suffering around me when I am not its source? How do I change the world when changing my own course is suicide of the mind? How do I live when death is all there is? These other ones are a little too depressing, so I'm going to skip these. What does it mean to be one of the few chosen who feel like spies in disguise behind enemy lines, stealing secrets from Satan before his eyes? Why do they believe themselves good when they should feel shame and blame for killing and maiming many multitudes of God's children? When someone says that they know right from wrong, white from black, but can't see their own lack of compassion, makes me sick to see. What started as a pastime has become my lifeline in a sea of chaos with thousands of ideas sailing. Lines on a page are cast out to find my grip with 1,000 ideas assailing. This activity I don't even know what that word is. I can't even read my own handwriting sometimes. Okay, I'm going to skip this one because I can't read the rest of it. I wrote it too quickly. Now I have to figure that out. I was born with a spiked tongue. I was born with spikes on my tongue. So soon as I spoke, I learned how sharp and cutting my utterances could be. When I was a child, I let myself go wild and lacerate the souls around me with the flick of my soul-spiked flail. As I grew older, I grew bolder and shouldered a responsibility I had dragged in the dirt, which was the sword of words. Now I know how to attack and how to defend and to sheathe the weapon around my friends, so that my life might come to a peaceful end. This one's called Do You Ever? Do you ever face the moment allowing the silence to seep in? Do you ever let go of doing and let yourself just exist? What good is life crammed with action but not living? What good is a mind that keeps itself blind? Do you ever breathe with the intention, feeling your core warmth? Do you ever sit with yourself and ask how you are really doing? Do you ever just feel, forgetting the unreal around us? Do you ever let yourself live before you distract yourself again? This is just a little thought that I wrote. When criminals run governments, treason becomes just. I can't imagine life without you, or ever leaving your side, and I hope I never doubt you or turn my face to hide. When I'm wrapped around you or laying by your side and talking with you, I know that you are mine. No matter the effort spent or the cost of my time, I'd appreciate how the day went and share with you my wine. I can't believe I got so lucky. Or was this just our fate to feel love when you hug me? For you, babe, I'll always wait. I remember those sweet words you said to me on that day and the poetry of your steps when we danced the sundown. I remember your eyes in the sun reflecting your joy as you read me those words of promises to our future. You are so much more than anything I could say. I love you so much more every single day. I'll never forget your smile because it's burned into my mind where it travels beyond time. I wish I could hit rewind. I flow with the river that winds around the sun and pulls me back to life after beginning to wither. Flowing round and round, my feet don't touch the ground. Flowing round and round, I can hear the sound. It's peaceful up here, flowing with the river, floating down to earth, your song I start to hear. It carries me away from the troubles below. This river around the sun takes my pain away. This one's called Generation Jonah. What happened to compassion, to our humanity, to the fabric of us? When did it start to fray? When did we become afraid to look into the eyes of others? Was it when we gave it all, or was it when we hid from the call? Generation Jonah, running away from love. Generation Jonah, ignoring the voice from above. How can we get back to the trust that we lost and fill out the lack and forget the cost? Call me what you want, I'll still be the same. Blame me for your faults. Call me Christ to be saved. It's all about the name. That's how we play this game of who did who and who will get the pain. Call me your enemy and watch how I act. Give me your empathy and I'll have your back. Tell me who I am. Show me what you want. And I'll do what I can, but don't blame me for your faults. Stand on treasures, you tell me desperately, wait for pleasures, to seek you quietly. You told me of the great fire that burned down the world and unfurled flags into ashes on the phoenix nest. Run on feathers light as you fly away from the others who watch you lie. Is this better to live in fantasy or to embrace the weather and love reality? If you dig for Trevor, if you dig for treasure, most of what you shovel is worthless to be sure. But when you dig that deep, you may find what you seek through the valley that has no peak. When you try again to search, to find, to aim, to capture what you left behind, will you find what you want? If you don't know what you lack, will you find what you want before your time expires? Will you be what you need when time's all you have? Will you believe what you see, even when it looks bad? I think I'm just going to do one last poem. We'll see if I can find. I think this one's good. I found myself looking down the barrel of my own intuition at the bullets of action, wondering why the contraction of the trigger squeezed into nothingness. No loud proclamation of I know, but my gut grumbles for me to listen to my deep intuition and ignore ignoble logic in its cold misunderstanding. One day it will burst out of my chest in heartbreak to tell me I told you so, and now you know you reap what you sow. Okay, and that's the last one for today. Thank you all for coming to the poetry stream. I'm glad you liked it, Louie. Yeah, I like that one. I like that little poem you wrote. That's cool. Well, I'll catch y'all later. See you all tomorrow. Peace out.